Gary, have we received any public comments online or in person?
We have not.
All right then, I will move to item number 1, approval of minutes for the annual and regular meeting minutes of January 16th, 2023. Does anyone have any comments, questions, clarifications regarding the minutes? So I actually had one brief change on page 9 of the packet, where I'm talking, I said a keeper solution is what the minutes say. It's actually supposed to be a cheaper solution. I don't think that that's a huge change, but you know me, I'm a Midwestern cheapskate, so I like to make sure that the word cheaper gets in every time I can.
Whereabouts is that, Becky?
On page, top of page 9.
Third sentence down.
Okay, third sentence down.
Cheaper instead of keeper.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
yep,
Let me see
yep.
that. So we just,
Yep, just move, you can move to accept it with the one change.
okay, so I'll move to accept the minutes with the one change on page 9 from keeper to cheaper.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the annual and regular meeting minutes of January 16th, 2023 with the one change. This motion is debatable, amendable, and requires a majority vote. Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor of approving the annual and regular meeting minutes of January 16th, 2023 with the one change say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion passes unanimously, and we will approve the regular and annual meeting minutes of January 16th, 2023. Item number 2, approval of financial report. This is actually going to be a January 2023 sales tax report review and discussion, as our financial report is not available for the meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look at this? Gary, have you had a chance to look at it? Do you want to lead this discussion, or?
I've looked at it, and it's, I'll just refer you to your packets, and then we're looking at an 18% increase over last year this time. So we're charting up, but all the data, a lot of data in this packet, or in this report, so I'll just refer to that. That's all I have.
So I would say that, you know, the interesting thing is that on page, I have 14 of our packet, just looking at the top 25 sales tax filers. McCoy's is the #1 sales tax filer. They are not in an economic development agreement with us, which is convenient. However, unlike at other parts of our history, we're now, I think, much more vulnerable to changes in the overall economic environment. So #1 is McCoy's. I don't know what Rise Collective is, but then we've got number 15, so Home Builder K. Hovnant. So it's just something to keep in mind, you know, when we're looking at budgeting and looking at what our outlook looks like. There's definitely more variability. You know, at one point in our past, or you know, 1 through 5 were essentially Kroger, Berkshire Brothers, Entergy, and Jim's Hardware, I think. So it was much more driven by the people that live here and shop here local, as opposed to things that are much more driven by national economic factors. So that's all I have to say about that.
But it's good to have 7% increase in the number of tax filers. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would be curious, let's see if it's in here. Do we have the number of like big ones versus little ones? Because I know when we were looking at the data before, we've got a lot at the very low level, so that's small businesses, which is, you know, my personal feeling is that's great for us. That's the sort of continuity of the small town atmosphere. It's kind of, it gives us diversification within our community, that kind of thing. I don't think they have the, I don't think they have the sales tax averages by size. Anyway, any comments, questions?
I make a motion, we accept and approve the financial report as given.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the financial report as stated. This motion is debatable, amendable, and requires a majority vote. Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor of approving the financial report as stated, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion passes unanimously, and we will approve the financial report as presented. Item number 3, consideration and possible action on a contract and grant application for the 2023 Music and Mudbugs Festival. Charlie, I see you here. Would you like to?
You told us to come by. I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, I mean, you're an entertainer.
You didn't bring your guitar? Come on now.
Got on the truck. Can't play. No, we're looking, I'm sure you all know, we moved the festival site to the opposite side of the driveway running up to Ransoms, or side Ransoms. Everything's in place, everything's going great. Looking for another great festival. And I'm sure y'all heard by now that we were nominated for the Texas Country Music Awards Festival of the Year for that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
For this location or a different one?
For that festival.
Last
First
year?
festival, it's actually that festival.
That
Music
festival.
I'll be
Yes.
darned.
Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quick question, have you dealt with the Kruger people in terms of like what's gonna happen on the parking lot surface? Because presumably there's gonna be a lot of interested people coming to the festival but parking there.
Yeah, Kroger's one of our sponsors, so we're
Okay.
actually having a meeting with them next week to
Fabulous.
go over all that as well.
Okay, and there's a big construction site going on there too, and I noticed that they had good fencing on it, so presumably they'll have it all locked down on the day of the event.
Yeah, we're gonna use that T that it kind of tees off and go left and then kind of come up in that parking lot up here in that field.
Okay, great. I also have a question. I know last time we saw you when you were giving the post-op on the fall festival, we had the show but no actual numbers for the check. Did you end up handing that in, or did we never give you the final numbers for the check?
I don't think we ever did the final numbers.
Okay.
But I brought a check with me, and I gave you that one.
I don't have the numbers, so you're gonna either have to give us a blank check or we'll have to try again.
But that's what I assumed, was they just come here and do it again like we did last time.
Okay. And then the other thing is that I was just gonna say, so this will be the 3rd year for this, right? With
Correct.
Montgomery, and our outside festival policy has been to support for 3 years only. So, because we figure that it's hard to start a festival, there's a lot of risk involved, and so we do a lot of support, but after 3 years, we need to either, the festival should be standing on its own, or we need to amend our policy or something. So it's just a comment, not that we aren't totally thrilled, but,
So I won't be sitting here next year, got it.
well, or we'll amend our policy, but it's something to think about now for the future, because it is policy,
For sure.
written down, actually. So, anyway, does anyone have any questions, comments?
We love Charlie Diggs, that's all there is to it. Yeah, you guys put on a good show, it's first class, man. And this year, I'm excited about it because the stage actually faces 105, and, there'll be a lot of buzz around it.
A lot more visibility.
Oh my gosh, it couldn't be a better location. How did y'all nab that? Is that still a part of the Ransoms group, or?
They said they did, they had somebody, but the actual deal wasn't done, so we get to use it for now, and we might get to use it for fall festival, but not sure yet.
Good. Good location, man.
I've been talking away, trying to find another spot. Y'all keep building and taking all of our places.
Stop growing, right?
Yeah.
I know that is definitely a problem as the city changes to keep the events that we really care about, in the locations that we love them, but it's hard with the growth to make that happen.
With all that success, maybe you can build a big old amphitheater somewhere,
That's
right?
my goal.
It's a good goal.
That would be awesome, a permanent amphitheater rather than having to bring a stage in every time.
Yeah, be great. Well, we want to entertain this motion?
I would love to entertain a motion.
You want to do it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I entertain the motion that we accept approve the grant request from MEDC to Charlie Diggs Entertainment and Productions.
Would you like to put an amount on that?
Pardon?
Would you
Yes,
like to put-
8,000.
Okay.
And, yeah,
I'll second it.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve a $8,000 grant application and contract for the 2023 Music and Mudbugs Festival. This motion is debatable, amendable, and requires a majority vote. Is there any further discussion on this item? All those in favor of approving the $8,000 grant application and contract for the 2023 Music and Mudbugs Festival, say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion passes unanimously, and we will approve the $8,000 grant application and contract for the 2023 Music and Mudbugs Festival. Thank you very much, Charlie. Appreciate it.
thank you.
All right. So, sorry, just one more thing. So you need to sign the contract with, I believe Dave will have it sometime in the week, and then we'll be good to go.
Yeah, and I'll come by then and square up with you.
Awesome. Fabulous. Thank you for coming in. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 4, consideration and possible action on a grant application for the March for our military 5K ruck march. Travis? Nope. Anyone? Okay, so this is one that we sponsored last year. If you remember the Run for Veterans, this is essentially the same event. And the $500 was to cover the police costs involved with the event. I don't know if you saw the pictures on social media. It seemed to go well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the second year, correct?
This is the second year.
I mean, I think it'll be much more well attended this year because it's been, some of the local like F45 and some of the others have really pushed their members to get involved. So yeah, it's a good event.
Okay,
So you want me to make a motion?
I think that'd be great.
Get along? Okay, so I'll make the motion that we accept and award the $500 grant to, hang on a second, lost my place.
March for our military 5K ruck march.
Yeah, to Alpha Elite Performance Outdoors for $500. Is that good?
Yep.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the $500 grant application for the March for our military 5K ruck march to benefit AEP Outdoors. This motion is debatable, amendable, and requires a majority vote. Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor of approving the $500 grant application for the March for our military 5K ruck march to benefit AEP Outdoors, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The motion carries unanimously, and we will approve the $500 grant application for the March for our military 5K ruck march to benefit AEP Outdoors. Item number 5, consideration and possible action on a grant application for the Montgomery Community Band. Would you like to introduce us?
Yes, I'm the leader of the Montgomery Community Band. My name is Joe Fioretti. Many of the people you see here are part of our band. I asked them to come out and help support us in this venture. I started a Facebook page for the band back in November because I wanted somewhere to keep playing trumpet. I played all through high school and have a degree in music. Took a different career path, but wanted to make sure I got back into it. And there was nowhere in the area that had a community band. The closest one was in the Woodlands. There's one down in Tomball. But I noticed there was nothing in Montgomery. So I put together a little Facebook page, a little form. And over the course of December, about 60 people filled out that form. And I talked with the school district, asked if we could use their band rooms, we could rehearse, so we could use their equipment. School district loved the idea, so we rehearse there now every Sunday evening. About 50 people show up every Sunday, some of them from Montgomery, well, most of them from the Montgomery area, some of them from outside the area. We have our first concert scheduled for April 23rd. Another concert scheduled for June 25th, and the goal is to have about 4 concerts a year. I've also been in conversation with someone from the city about trying to have a smaller group also play at parades in town for 4th of July in the winter. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. Our annual budget, I estimate, is about $9,000 or so to pay for the rehearsal space, to pay to secure the auditorium from the school district, as well as grow our own library of music. So my goal and hope is to be able to come here and be able to seek some funding from the city to help us boost this group, and as we get onto our feet and hopefully grow and have others outside of this as well support the organization.
Okay. Any questions for Joe?
Little known fact, Joe, I was 3 consecutive years Cy-Fair Bobcat Band one as a soloist and trumpet, and
Okay.
also ensemble.
What do you do Sunday evenings?
I was going to say, don't call me, because I don't even think I can make a buzz on the mouthpiece anymore. But I did take it up in a church orchestra not too long after I left high school, but then it probably got sold in a garage sale, and I chose the coaching path over the band directing type of thing. But I am a big fan of the arts. I have spoken to the events coordinator to try to get all ages, and I've spoken it publicly before. We have some outstanding youth, orchestra. I go and I see a theater presentation there at Conroe. I come out of the bathroom and who's playing? A nice orchestra with local people, trying to encourage people to hang out, right, and experience the culture of all ages. So I'm a big fan of this and anything else we can do to create some culture down there. Doesn't make any sense to have a pristine situation downtown that I hope to have within 3 to 5 years, a great place to hang out, if we don't have some arts contributing to that experience overall. So I'm a big fan of this. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And Joe, I just want to commend you on having brought the biggest audience we've ever seen. Because we don't get very many people coming to visit us, so you definitely brought the band today, so thank you for that. I was just curious a little bit about how does it actually work? So that when you say a concert, where are they normally performed? Are they indoors? Are they outdoor? Where do you guys normally?
Yeah, so our concert's going to be at the Montgomery High School auditorium.
Okay.
They've given us a reduced rate that they would normally give for corporate enterprises to rent out the auditorium. And so we have, like I said, about 50 people from flutes, trumpets, saxophones, percussion. The normal, high school band is what our group would be performing.
Is it like an orchestra where there's strings and others, or is it mostly just
Just wind instruments.
Wind instruments?
No
Okay.
orchestra.
No
And-
strings attached.
And how long are your
Never mind. Go ahead.
Lord, don't even
It's
make-
okay.
how long are your concerts typically?
We haven't had one yet, but we estimate it'd be about an hour to an hour and a half.
Are they paid events? Are
That
they?
would be free, open to the public.
Okay.
Donations greatly appreciated.
Gotcha. Okay.
So your first one is when again?
Sunday, April 23rd, at 7 p.m.
And how do y'all plan to get that Facebook? Is that social media?
Yes, there's a Facebook page, and there's a large audience following that, and then everyone in the band helps kind of share out the posts and grow the awareness of the group. But still a few instruments we need larger numbers in, but for the most part, it's a very fully built out band at this point.
Are these all volunteers or are they?
100% volunteers.
Really? Okay.
Would y'all ever consider doing an event like outdoors where part of another event?
I mean, I'd be open to a conversation. Our band director at this moment in time is Mr. Tom Burr right here, so he'd be helping with our musical direction and planning. Like I said, the idea right now is to have maybe a smaller group play under the pavilion during the parades.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I think we'd want to see what our band is interested in doing as well as a whole.
Just from a standpoint of getting more eyes on you,
Yes.
without the intent, it's unintentional,
Yeah.
but there's already a group of people there that would,
Oh, definitely.
What's the name of your group?
The Montgomery Community Band.
What community?
Can't beat that.
That's a good point. Don't we get
So I have a
you guys-
question. So usually as part of our sponsorships, we request that you give the city credit. How would you anticipate is that a possibility? And if yes, how?
So for all our performances, I've talked with Tom's Printing, and they said they'll print all of our concert programs free of charge, as long as we include their logo on it, and I would then also include any other branding we need for
Okay.
Montgomery, anyone else we get any funding from beyond there as well.
And maybe a few nice posts on Facebook?
Is that all?
We could always use a little bit of nice Facebook activity as well. Okay, that sounds fair. And we can also talk to the city about maybe cross-posting your events as well.
That would be amazing.
Right, budget-wise,
So.
where are you thinking?
It's been quite some time since we've had some financials, so we're a little bit in the dark, but I think for $3,000, we have it in our unallocated events line item.
Okay,
So we would just transfer it out of, or I prefer to have each item shown eventually, but we could allocate it to we could pay for it in the unallocated events and eventually have a specific line item for this if we chose to go forward. We have enough money in events.
Okay.
And
'Cause
keeping with
Dave's-
what I was stating before, I think if we continue this, it would be great. I just see a natural extension of improving the Cowan to Nexco for that Jacobs property, which includes a pavilion upgrade and several upgrades, and I see a spot there for you. So just know if we go this direction, that we would love to see you come and be part of the downtown experience, and so.
That's a unique experience when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, you've already got a great thing going there with the dance.
Right, oh, it's fantastic.
Everybody gets to come and free enterprise all they want. There's no barriers, nothing. You just go have a good time. And
Keeps
this
that
is
small town
this has the
feel, yeah.
potential to do that as well.
For sure.
So this is
Well,
why
along
people
those
come
lines,
small.
the Montgomery Quilt Walk is October 6th and 7th, the 7th being the Saturday. So if you wanted to have a daytime concert with,
Yeah.
probably a couple thousand people downtown, generally strolling around, and there's, quilts hanging downtown. I don't know if you saw the event last year, but, essentially fiber art. And so people walking around slowly looking at it, that would be something that we'd love to have at the pavilion.
When will we get to, or will this concert be the first time that y'all have all performed together in public?
Yes.
Or- Okay. So I think it maybe be good to get some video and, create some other collateral media that might be able to extend your reach just a bit, and certainly hype up any future, performance opportunities that we could kind of collaborate with you on.
Definitely.
Joe, your kids might be a little bit young, but depending on who has teenage kids, they might be able to TikTok and Facebook Reels or Instagram Reels away, and give us
Maybe
some
we
good
could
stuff.
bring the goat out to do some dancing to it.
Depends on what their music is. I'm not sure a costume Swan Lake is exactly what they're looking for.
I don't know. I just want to see someone in the goat costume.
Dancing.
You
Okay.
make a motion?
I will make the motion. You want the amount?
Yes, please.
Anything else?
And where to take the money from, please?
And where was that going to be?
Events.
Events? Okay, so I'll make the motion that we grant the application for Montgomery Community Band in the amount of $3,000 to come out of the events fund.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded that we fund the grant for the Montgomery Community Band in the amount of $3,000 to be taken from the unallocated events line item. This motion is debatable, amendable, and requires a majority vote. Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor of funding the grant application for the Montgomery Community Band in the amount of $3,000 to be taken from the unallocated events line item, say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The motion carries unanimously, and we will fund the grant application for the Montgomery Community Band in the amount of $3,000 to be taken from the unallocated events line item. Item number 6, development report. So since Dave isn't here, we rely on all of you to have read your development report.
Yes.
Unless, would you like to, I assume it's the same development report that either has recently taken place at council or will take place at the next council.
Yes, I'm assuming it's the same one, but I'm not familiar enough with these projects to make any comments.
Okay.
But I can take your questions back to Dave and get an answer for you.
So for those of us who drive up and down 105, obviously there's finally discount tire activity going on. I assume.
Popeyes?
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 Yeah.
Popeyes.
It's Popeyes, not
Yeah.
discount tire?
Not
Yeah,
yet.
this-
Not yet.
On the north side.
Oh, yeah, it's Popeyes.
It's Popeyes.
So they're not building the road yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But it will be the developer will have to build that road because of Popeyes as well.
So what's discount tire doing?
He just doesn't want to spend the money yet. He's stretching it out as long as he can.
Oh, sure. We were putting the pavers in.
It should have been a requirement to tie in
Yeah.
to that road to begin with. but
Yeah,
it was
but
never
it
a
wasn't.
requirement.
Speaking of tying into roads, I was wondering, you were not at our last meeting, right?
Yeah, right.
I wanted to put on our list of things to achieve in 2023 is maybe getting the road from Buffalo Springs Drive all the way over to CB Stewart, which is not necessarily a priority for the current landowners. If
Correct.
I could maybe put that on your, maybe to talk list to see if you could convince them that it is a priority for them.
Yeah, I mean, where they are on pricing, they're end users. As far as their buyers, they're gonna be end users. They're way overpriced for a developer to come in and pay for it.
So you don't think that they could be convinced that it would be easier to subdivide the land with a road already in place? And,
Correct.
I mean, if the city could quid pro quo something, Gary, maybe you'd have to talk on this too. I mean, is there something that we could give them for cheaper for them to subdivide it and then put the, you know, like, put the road in, so then you have it split from south and north?
It needs to happen regardless. I think it would be, every developer that's looked at the deal would want that spine road to continue from Buffalo Springs to Klepper, but, not Klepper, but CB Stewart. It just makes
Okay, so
complete
it's a-
sense because there's too much depth. You have certain depths for pad
You have like
sites.
these lots that look like noodles,
Right.
and then there's no point in that.
So, agree. The biggest challenge with that track is detention, which is what everybody's always fought over. The elevation goes up to the north, and you have to balance a site that is extremely expensive already. And then when you add another $5-6 a foot on top of that for site work, potentially even higher than that, and you're eating up $18 dirt for, 2 acres of detention. It drives up the cost.
Can they do mitigation on the south side? I mean,
No.
that's where it all goes.
Yeah, it goes there or it goes directly to the creek on the Kroger side. Initially, that was all factored in, but it got hit, Phillips track got missed when the Kroger development happened. So it got left out of the detention.
I was gonna say, Philip's been digging dirt. I mean, he and Randy Run have been removing stuff, so presumably the site work is getting cheaper and cheaper because he's selling Randy dirt for free. I mean,
Yeah,
no.
you can tell, you can say that, but that won't be the consensus. It's gotten very expensive, and a lot of it has to do with selling pad sites for $30 a foot already.
Okay.
But those are ready to go pad sites where you can go ahead and start building. He's got $18 dirt, but you still got another $10 of work.
right.
Yeah, so it doesn't.
$30 pad.
Yeah, for a developer to come in and buy it, it doesn't make any sense. But end users, he needs to become a developer. I don't think he says he will, but I don't think he will.
So in some ways, having the road there makes it easier to become
It
a
does.
developer.
It does.
Especially, I mean, because my perception is that it's important enough to the city and the development of it that we could consider fronting the money and then they pay us back at pro rata as they tie on,
Agreed.
without charging them interest, which especially now is a big deal. You could just to get that safety factor and the connectivity factor with what's going on.
I don't think he sells it without the spine. It's something that has to happen.
But I don't want to pay for the land as part,
Right.
like I don't think we should pay for doing that favor. I mean,
No, I agree. I think that, if you're willing to, participate in the construction of the spine road,
He grants the easement.
right.
So, but I still think it should be a private road as well.
It should be, yes.
That's another problem. I mean, so,
That's the way the first Hartford road works,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I would assume the same thing.
but I think that they could also build it more cheaply than we could, the city could.
Yeah.
So,
Milestone is private. First Hartford's private. This should continue to be private.
but I think there needs to be somebody who knows what the end user wants, somebody who understands the real estate market, somebody who understands costs.
It's really a continuation of what we've already done with Milestone.
Right.
Or what Milestone did.
But,
It's- It's really, because the depths are really very specific about pad uses. You have to have a certain amount of depth for each use. The frontage is what fluctuates one way or the other depending on the user. But it's really key to continue in that same road frontage or
Right.
from the depth as far as that's concerned. it's not brain surgery. It's really just continuing that road across at the same depth.
I just feel like it needs like a light touch and a knowledgeable touch to kind of inch them along to the idea. And
Yeah, the problem is you got a landowner that says he's gonna be a developer and he's not, he has no intention of being a developer, but he wants a certain price.
but then you get the other side of it, you know, if the other owner might be interested, and then the middle parcel might be feeling pressure, or maybe not, but at least might be willing to consider doing it. Even if he
Could.
doesn't want to develop, then maybe he'd at least allow it to go through so that the other guy could get going.
Right, right. Yeah,
I don't know.
we'll work on him.
Okay, thank you.
Do that.
It's definitely not my area of expertise, either the politeness or the knowledge or the patience.
No politeness involved.
All of these things are your area, not my area.
Yeah, we'll just go out there and stake the road out, see what it is.
Now that actually does sound like me. I'll borrow a bulldozer and just start going.
Right.
Item number 7, city engineer, Kyle. Since we don't have a city engineer, do you want to talk?
Whoa,
I know, sandbag.
we got papers in 105 media.
I saw it.
Yes,
I
got
was gonna say, actually,
complimented
I
on
should have
it
arranged for a
today.
parade when you came to, you know, like throw confetti and all that stuff.
Slow and sure. The price was good.
As in free?
You haven't got a bill yet?
Are we going to?
Yeah, I think with our downtown plan, last I heard, we're programmed to get surveyed the 3rd of March, if I recall.
Okay,
So we can finally get that moving.
okay.
As for the rest of what you've got going on here, I don't have that information.
I know. It was more the bricks that I was going to give you a chance to take the credit for, since you were the driver for us actually getting those inserted.
Happy to do it.
No, appreciate that.
Yes.
Not to dogpile on you at all. This goes back to textile, obviously, but I mean, have they learned anything from what they just did? Because there's zero turnaround. I mean, you can't even turn a Ford truck without falling off the shoulder.
You see all the mud over there where everybody's making the corner.
I mean, they've got to learn something, or do they just don't listen?
It's not in learning things.
Right, they don't listen. They think they know and that nobody else does. But, I mean, really, you cannot make, I saw a fire truck try to make a 4-point turn. It's not possible. They ran over the curb. So, I mean,
I'm not surprised.
and it just doesn't, I don't know, it makes zero sense. It really, they say they do things out of safety, which is BS. It's, there's something else going on besides that. But
I did a similar project south of Houston, and they came back after the fact and widened the pavement at Post Turning.
it's,
I was going to say, so why didn't they do that here if they already know that that's a problem?
Because they don't think we know it.
so the point of that is, as they go west, are they going to continue to use the same contractor and the same crap and the same?
I know that particular contractor has been a struggle.
Yeah.
He's probably not going to be when they do west. Obviously, they'll go back out to bids and do a little bit.
Is it really all that necessary to go west?
They're in design for the west side of town
Right.
now. From the edge of town, your road out here, out to the Grimes County line.
Yeah. Which, that's what I'm saying. I mean, what's the necessity? Because there's zero business, it's large landowners with no turn-ins, I mean, 1 or 2 here and there.
Well, I kind of jumped on the 1488, because years ago, when they wanted 1488, same kind of thing. If you
Right.
wanted to introduce medians, it would have been the right time to do it.
Right.
Because then people can plan for it.
Yeah.
They'll say, no, it's money, so let's push it down the road, and we'll put it in later.
I don't know. I just, my personal opinion, because it's common sense, I guess. which they don't use any, is 2854 needs to be in expansion mode yesterday. And instead of focusing on 105 going west of 2854.
Right. You get behind somebody on that.
I mean, you got Lake Creek already creates a huge amount of traffic. You got two more schools coming in, new ones, that they are not aware of, I guarantee you.
I hadn't heard any recent updates for 2854.
Which is amazing.
105 west of here, right now they're implementing back to 45, and 1488 they're going to start at 2920
Yeah.
west of Tomahawk.
Do they envision the part of the solution, the south loop as we call it, the relief from 2854 to 149, or is that what they're saying is their solution, or what?
To coming through the city of Montgomery,
Well, just alleviating the 2854 towards the city of Montgomery, people can turn before they get there. Isn't that what the South Loop solution is
So
partly
would it
about?
be in the city of Montgomery, it would run roughly south of
South.
Redbird Meadows and cut around, depending on where it jumps the railroad tracks, kind of around to meet up with Lone Star Parkway on the west side.
it seems like we've got a south connector on the precinct 2 mobility study.
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to look at that.
So-
That's coming to the tail end. We're doing that for precinct 2 and Charter Rock.
Okay. And that's south 140
I think there's a south
connector.
corridor out there programmed into that. I'll verify.
If that's the only
The problem
relief,
with
I
that
don't know if
is
it's
that that
enough.
doesn't happen
coming
until
through
all of that land
Right.
develops, because unless that's the way that we've been treating it, is that, we have it in our, mobility plan, but until, some of these bigger tracts of land actually develop, we weren't planning on, going in and purchasing right of way and building roads. We were doing it like with Redbird Meadow, okay, so you want to have your development look like this. Okay, let's, kind of nudge things around here and here because we need to have, this connector come through here. So, okay, let's nudge things around a little bit more. All right, so now it goes like this and it will serve your development, getting it over to 149. Which I guess isn't even 2854, but then so you have to wait until the Risha Randall property develops, which could be 2 years from now, it could be 5 years from now, it could be 20 years from now. Unless somebody's going to come and buy all of that, which I think would be foolhardy until you see, especially a planned community come in and how they're going to develop with
The road was coming through it.
the structure of the land, the topography of the land itself.
And basically, you're going to try to want to push a bypass scenario with Texas. Okay, as a reliever, because they're limited in what they can do through the town.
Right. No, we get that, but again, it's sort of, unless you're going to eminent domain, which, the city of Montgomery has always been reluctant to do. Some of the bypass stuff doesn't even exist in the city of Montgomery. You're talking about our ETJ, so it's not our business anyway. You have to work with developers as they develop the property that they own. So, all of this is dependent on the economy. It's dependent on, when the developments take place, and it depends on when landowners sell their large tracts.
Well, it's the importance of getting them on one of those plans. If they're on one of those plans, and a development comes in, then they have to dedicate the right. And if they're building through there, then they have to build what serves their development.
Right,
That's why I see a bunch of half boulevards.
right. And I think we have that, I don't know what precinct 2 has, but the city has that in mind. But we don't, again, we don't have everything, some of it's in our ETJ, so obviously we can't control what happens in the ETJ.
Right. But that's part of the precinct mobility plan, so it's enforceable.
But you have our mobility plan too, right? So, or no?
We've had a couple of meetings with your city engineer and Charlie Riley.
What does it take to get the commissioners to focus on this area? Because really, Charlie focuses on Magnolia, Robert focuses on Willis, because those are their town centers where they office.
Well, his precinct's such a small part of which
It's very small.
it's like this southwest part.
Right, and so Robert, it really kind of hinges, there's a few moving parts here that never gets resolved. Everybody pushes it down the road, which is Lone Star Parkway. How does anyone motivate anybody to accept that and improve it? Because right now, it's a piece of crap.
They put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole.
Yeah.
Well, just, I don't know.
And you've got more traffic on it now than we ever have, and it's going to continue.
It's squeaky wheel with your commissioner and people like HJC
Yeah,
that are helping put these plans together.
right.
And we're contracted through HJC, but that's partially funded by Precinct 2.
Wade, I don't know if this is going to help, but last week had a conversation with Morgan Luttrell. And at the top of the list, of the wish list, is, as Robert Walker likes to say, I knew Morgan since he was knee-high. So I said, you know, Morgan, he's saying that. Go tell him we need, of that $26 billion of infrastructure coming from the national government that's going to go to the state, it's going to end up in Robert Walker's office. So you tell him, we'll keep telling him over and over and over. We got several itches. The Lone Star Loop is one on my list. But other things as connecting the South Loop or expanding 2854 is the other thing, because it's huge traffic issues. And that's the only thing I know to do is to try to get something going to that $1 billion pot. And then in conjunction with whatever bond that I know the county is wanting to pass at some point, that's what I was told. And we need a piece of that pie. So whatever you can do to help that. Now, sponging off of that idea too is getting your deal with TxDOT. You got to get your orders in early. So I'm going to tell you the same thing I've told everybody else. I'm going to keep telling it. If you're going to bring sidewalks in, all the way up to Cedar Break Park, 10 foot wide, great idea, I suppose. Wouldn't be on my top of my list, but nevertheless, that's what they're going to do. There's no provisions for lighting. Mommy, Daddy, and little Junior are going to stroll in pitch black. I kid you not. You get out to this hill, and you come out the hills of Town Creek, and I had a police chief drive out there just to see what I was seeing every morning at 6:30 with them kids trying to go out there on the Lone Star Loop, turn left, come into Montgomery High School. It's pitch black, and they're coming around there at 65, 75 miles an hour. And so it's not safe. And so I'll keep asking, you keep saying it. If you're in that discussion, I've said it with TxDOT and everybody else. Years ahead of time, you got to get your order in. Where's the lighting coming from? There's nothing lit up. It's pitch black like that. It's not on anybody's drawing board. It's just not there. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we met with TxDOT and gave comments on what they're doing west of town here. It's been a few months. I can tell you with regard to pedestrian lights and sidewalk lighting, they generally turn to the municipality to own and operate that stuff and sometimes pay for install, depending on what they're going to install. If it's not a standard TxDOT deal, then they look at the municipality to pay that difference. I'm doing one 3 miles down the city fairway right now. So I've had those conversations, 2 weeks ago with TxDOT in the city fairway. So stuff like that, it'll turn to the municipality.
Okay.
Say, oh, fun. Now, the traffic circle roundabout, we kind of envisioned with the downtown plan. Your area engineer is trying to get that on the plans. Hopefully he's successful and he can do that, and then at some point maybe they'll come out and build it. But it's that squeaky wheel is staying in contact with those people, let them know what you want.
If it's going to happen and the federal government's going to shoot $26 billion to Texas, we need to squeak as loud as we possibly can in the next year.
Who's the squeaky wheel? Who does that? Is it residents? Is it public?
It's, it's, I think I've said before, highly encourage somebody to go down and participate in HGAC meetings.
From the city?
Pro City, you know, do a regular touch-in with Houston District, Houston District.
Right.
Eliza Paul is the district engineer. James Koch is the director of transportation planning.
Mhm.
Good people to just touch base with
Right.
frequently.
We need to stay on top of it from a city standpoint,
Yeah,
which there's probably zero attention being done right now.
And I can tell you, I mean, I started looking at, okay, well, they're doing access management over here. What's going on the west side? And how's that gonna come through town?
Well, and here's the thing, I mean, 2854 at Wood Forest and Fish Creek gets a lot of attention. Those people were screaming and yelling all the time.
Screaming and yelling.
Yes, and you get lights, you get whatever you want. You get four-lane divided road all the way to Wood Forest, you know? So I don't know, it's aggravating because we talk a lot and we do nothing. You know, and I'm not saying, not talking to you, just as a group. All we do is talk, but nothing happens, you know?
And to some degree, the TxDOT people get frustrated because you get these funding, you know, HGACs, and then you've got Harris County and City of Houston want to grab all that money.
Right.
And they're trying to do an even distribution to get people what they need.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen it. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You get on 2854, 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., and it's like a train. You can't get out or on. Yeah.
I've got a fire station on 2854.
Right. The new one.
The new one's going.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an ESD commissioner for that district.
Right.
So the importance is there, and the program to come in there.
That's why it's aggravating that they're focused on 105 West with a bunch of large landowners. It just makes zero sense.
You know, TxDOT's got $85 billion to spend.
Yeah. I wish they could use common sense.
Well, how do you get in front of them?
Hey, it's a squeaky wheel. It's what he's saying. You know, you got to
But
be on top of them all the time, every
Yeah.
chance you get. And, you know, same goes for commissioners. You got to be screaming at them.
Yep.
Yeah. And until they're so aggravated that they have to do something.
they just tap out and say, okay.
Well, I mean, 149, 105, 2854, Lone Star Parkway, all of it needs to be addressed today. You wait, and here in about 3 more years, you're going to be,
You won't even be able to move.
it's going to be nuts. You're on 2-lane roads.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the traffic. Crazy.
Anything I can do to help, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Well, you're just gonna have
And it's coming here whether you like it or not. You can stick your head in the sand, act like it's not coming, it's coming.
You're gonna have to do
A lot more.
social media blitz, and you're gonna have to have names and contacts for
Yeah.
these people, just like you do with the Congress. You know, you just hand out their cell phone and
The days of we're little Montgomery and nothing's happening unless we approve it, they don't care. They're gonna go around you. And it's gonna happen.
Gary,
You either end up with good stuff or bad stuff.
Gary, do you think you could, maybe for our next meeting, have a plan for us to be more engaged with HGAC and TxDOT for the benefit, not my MEDC specifically, but the city generally, and if MEDC needs to participate in that, then obviously we'll do our part as well.
Well, I mean, all the meetings are online now, so you can, which is great because they're accessible, but bad because you're not in person.
I was gonna say, you're from Georgia, so you're familiar with the Good Old Boy Network, so I don't think online is exactly what I'm looking for.
No, that's what I'm saying, and I don't even know if they're offering in-person meetings.
I think
Kyle, is that the case?
Next up?
Yes.
TxDOT and HGAC.
meetings, are they both in person and online, or? Because I'm only finding them online, I'm not finding them.
Yeah, I haven't seen any in person lately.
Not with HGAC. TxDOT will do in person 2 days a week. I think they're 2 days a week.
Is Chris our engineer?
Yes, for now.
Okay. Chris
Yes,
should
he
be
is our
to a front door
engineer.
access. He should be, right, Kyle? I mean, our engineer should be able to get an appointment
I was gonna say, I feel like we need a,
If you want to use them.
I was gonna say, not a publicity campaign, but a marketing campaign with, you know, our representatives, HGAC and TxDOT, so not necessarily to show up with the public, but to be showing up in meeting with our plans, with our needs, with our goals, to be advocating for ourselves on a marketing plan,
Becky,
essentially.
is there any way, I mean, obviously Wade's got a little more insight as to what's coming, but that we could put some sort of a marketing plan together that actually, I mean, MEDC could certainly help in that area, so that they could have something, some sort of collateral, video, anything to show what's coming and give them a little bit better perspective, maybe that they don't already have. I don't know. I mean, developers know what's coming on quicker than TxDOT, I would imagine, and TxDOT gets, you know, sort of pinged from all different, you know, political spectrums. How do you normally go into an area and let them?
You do let them know, and they don't react. It's the most frustrating thing.
Yeah.
It really is. We're truly at a crossroads right now where things could go this way or that way, and we're getting run over right now. And developers tell you what they're going to do and when they're going to do it, and nobody says a thing.
So the EDC obviously does not have staff, so we either need to ask city staff to do that, or we need to engage an outside firm to act on our behalf, to create materials and or lobby for us.
Yeah.
So that's something that,
Engaging developers and getting in front of them and knowing what's going on, and you know, it helps. You know, getting and helping them with TxDOT. You know, that again, it's just like Kyle said, it's a lot of attention and a lot of noise.
so do we want to, and I think given where city staff is in terms of being on city staff's plate, the things that you guys have right now, probably the best bet for moving this forward would be for us to look for outside services.
Yeah, for what you're looking for, yeah, absolutely.
So is that,
I've got some contacts I can give you that could help you out with that.
so is that something, obviously we can't vote on it right now, but is that something you guys want to see on the next agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what would they do?
Basically, lobby for us with HGAC, with TxDOT, and with our
Commissioners.
state senators, and about getting projects moved forward and thus moved to the top of the list for funding, would be my preference.
Yeah, we better get it on the radar sooner than later.
Yep.
Sounds like.
They're still threatening a call for projects.
What does that mean?
I don't know if that's going to be in another month or two.
What does that
They're
mean?
doing what?
The call for projects, it's a
Oh, call for project.
grant
Yes,
funding.
yes.
Okay.
TxDOT is, or
It'll
HGAC?
go through HGAC.
Yeah.
And when
Do
you
have a
say,
specific area in mind, or is this a general call for projects?
It's a general call.
So where are we, do you think, in terms of being ready for any of our projects that we've got? Because we've got, I mean, when we met with TxDOT 2 months ago, we talked about the roundabout on 149. And then we've got obviously some of the downtown 149 things that,
Well, a couple I talked to Dave about was, for the last submission was the TA call for projects. Transportation alternative.
yes, the sidewalks.
So the sidewalks are what you're trying to do through Old Town on 149.
Yep.
Might have been a good project to submit. Potential. Now, it's my understanding they've pulled the project west back, so it's going to start here, it's not going to go into 149.
Okay.
Last time. And so if there's any gaps that needed to be closed in there for sidewalk or alternative transportation, would have been a good place to do. Okay. the tech dot facility, if you get them on board, then the city would be, or the EDC would be the sponsor requesting the project. The tech dot will support it, and that goes a long way. If you're asking to improve their facility, but then they don't get hit when they get 400 projects, right?
Because we're doing the work.
Because you're sponsoring that. Now, that's whether or not you can make that financial commitment. Okay, back in 2015, I got City of Tomball funded for 2920 reconstruction. They put in $3 million, they got funded for 28.
That seems like a good trade-off. I hesitate to, if we have the possibility of of our piece, their piece like that, I hesitate to just ask for the roundabout. I want to ask for the whole thing.
Shoot for the moon. Okay, if that's improvements you want to see through town on 105. Further up and down 149. You're asking for a bridge over the railroad.
I was going to say, we might need several.
You're gonna need at least 2 to make that parkway work.
Well, and we need some bridges on Lone Star Parkway too, on the northern portion.
Right.
If you want to sit down and look at the precinct 2 mobility study, brainstorm a little bit, and I can set you up a meeting, that's not a problem.
Okay. Okay, I think we have a couple different areas that we need to follow up on this to be ready just in case, and and it's always good to have a couple different avenues depending on which way the wind blows on the calls. Okay. Any other questions on the city engineer's report itself, for Gary or otherwise?
Just Gary asked the engineers to give us an update for next Tuesday's meeting on specifics about the light at 105 in Buffalo, the light at 1097 at Buffalo. That's one. And then more specifics about Home Depot prospects. And then also some things about...
I've got light at 105 in Buffalo Springs.
Yeah, the light at 105 Buffalo
1097 in Buffalo.
and 1097 that's supposedly on the drawing board for years or whatever. And then the Home Depot status is clear as mud. Last time Chris was hesitant to say anything. I hope he's got something more to say. And then the third thing is clarification on Emma's Way. Is it going to go through or not? Is there some changes maybe to the developer's plans with Phase 5 at Hills of Town Creek? Is that going to slow down Emma's Way? That type of thing. It is updated next Tuesday for that.
You're saying next city council meeting?
Yeah, if we could make sure he speaks to that.
Okay, got it.
I believe we've kind of segued into board inquiry, which is fine with me. Does anyone have anything for board inquiry other than what we kind of talked about with the issue of looking into a lobbyist at our next meeting? All right then, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. We are adjourned at 6:59. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you, audience.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your time and dedication to our meeting.
This is a good one.